It's getting a little sensual with the mic. So, before the start of our Rage Quit episode, I would like to tell a little bit about Rage Quit's sponsor. So, welcome to another episode of Rage Quit, the husband and wife duo that discusses video games every week. Rage Quit is sponsored by AFK Clothing Co. Are you a gamer? Do you enjoy games? Then check out AFK Clothing Co. for all of your gaming apparel needs. As I record this, I am sporting an AFK green sleeve baseball tee that I absolutely love and wear every week. We'd never be sponsored by something we didn't like. And if you'd like to support the show, head on over to AFK Clothing Co., link in the description below, and type ASI in the promo code box to get 10% off your next order. As always, just follow the bear, and now on to the show. I was gonna say at first, I was like, that was in the middle between the sad one and like the better one.
Yeah.
But then you did the little like jazzy thing at the end, so it kind of like +1 that shit.
+1.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the titty sparkler. Woo! Nerd alert!
So you can titty sparkler yourself?
Yeah.
That seems unfair.
Nope.
Give yourself a gold star.
Oh yeah, duh.
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rage Quit. I just interrupted you because I can.
It sounds like there's like no accountability, and I don't like that. There's no government oversight.
Was it go with great titty sparklers comes great responsibility? Go away! I don't need my lap.
He's looking at me. He wants to.
Cat's eyeballing me. And I try to get my lap. Go away, motherfucker! I don't want you in my lap.
Yeah, this is episode 20 of Rage Quit.
Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Anthony Schultz.
I'm Ariel Skahulitz. That's Cat.
Yep. Pregnant pause.
I think every pregnant pause should be like that. Just pregnant pause.
Somebody in the room is required to meow
Yes.
if there's an awkward pause or a pregnant pause.
That'd be the best ever.
I feel like if you're the one doing the pregnant pause, you have to meow. But if it's an awkward pause, then just someone in the room has to. Like, that's the rule.
I like
Like,
how there's a clarifier in there.
otherwise, it just goes on and you can't leave the room. Like, those are the rules. Like, you remain in silence. You can't leave until someone meows.
Oh, that's a shitty way to end a conversation.
That's what I mean. Just every, like, 4 people. Like,
Wait for the meow. I gotta go pick up.
do I want to do it?
I need to do.
I don't know
I
if
gotta
I
pick
wanna
up
do
Little
it.
Lick McCrack from his recital.
Exactly.
All right, so kind sir, what is this podcast about today?
So we are going to be. I think this is episode 21, actually.
Oh, you done fucked up.
I think I did.
Oh,
It
no.
is. It's episode 21, not episode 20.
Oh,
I mislabeled
shit.
it.
Oh, shit.
Because I was like, wait a minute, we did 19 and 20 back to back. Like those are
Ladies
coming
and
out.
gentlemen, I want you to be aware. Anthony Schultz has fucked up.
I did, yeah. So this is episode 21 of Rage Quit. This is why I always like do the save as and put the title in first so I can see it.
I didn't know
But
what
if
I'm
you
looking at.
if you miswrite it, then your whole system just comes collapsing down on
It's
yourself.
crumbling down.
Doesn't
It's
work
crumbling on you.
anymore. Episode 21's topic is going to be why side quests matter.
Yeah, because side quests matter.
So-
Oh, no. I didn't mean to make it that kind of joke.
They do matter. They
Oh. So, Anthony, why do side quests matter?
do. For me, like side quests were like most like predominantly in RPGs. Like that was a big thing. Like, RPGs were already kind of like sprawling. They've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as time went on. But before it was like 40 hours. That was like a common kind
RPG.
of like length. Now you get stuff like The Witcher, or even you know, you throw in like MMOs and some of the other subgenres in RPGs, and you know, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah. I feel like with the hundreds and hundreds of hours games, those are just mini side quest games. That's what should be called, just a mini side quest game.
Well, it's like with Days Gone, for example. I got my PlayStation like total back, and it's like that's an action RPG kind of.
Yeah.
It's more of like an action adventure game than an RPG.
Yeah.
It has some RPG elements. But it's more action adventure like oriented.
Yeah, it's got more of a story.
But I spent like 126 hours on that game, like just across
Well, you played it twice though.
I did, yeah. I still could go through a third time to
Well,
get
that's
on
on
the trophies.
That's on you,
yeah.
Holmes. That's not on me.
Which I won't be streaming.
You should stream it.
Yeah, and so old school RPGs is where like I was probably first introduced to like the idea of a side quest. I don't remember them very much in like really old like platformers and stuff.
There wasn't a toddler yelling "Dad" in the background.
Yeah. I don't remember them in like NES, Super Nintendo kind of like platformers or like action games and stuff like that. Then later on when you get into like PS1, PS2 platformers, like definitely like you brought up Spyro before we were recording and stuff like that. There are side quests in those.
Why do you think they made them into like?
I think they like flesh out like the story. I think its roots probably go back to like D&D and like tabletop games and stuff.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which really influenced early video games. Yeah. You get like Ultima and like some of these very much copy and pasted tabletop games into a virtual reality, a video game. And if you're playing D&D with a group of friends and it's like you can go and kind of do whatever. There's usually a DM with a like scripted mainline story, but you could get off the beaten path and your party could like split up and one character could end up, in a neighboring city fighting thieves.
Which would be funny.
Another one could be like kidnapped and the other two are trying to go rescue. So it's like I think that kind of mindset would be considered a side quest because you're outside of the purview of the scripted DM main storyline.
Oh, that actually makes sense. I like how like essentially the origins are from tabletop games before even video games came out.
Yeah, and it makes sense too because then it's like it's a game and it can be it's stat based. Yeah. So that can be very easily translated as like ones and zeros are like mathematically to a video game. Yeah. I just bended it up. Go back in time.
Oh my god! She's gone.
This podcast is simultaneously being recorded in the future and the present. But if I were to guess, I would say that that's where it kind of came from, and then that was such an easy translation to video games, especially RPGs. That's why it's such an old genre. Is because you can take those tabletop games, that stat-based gameplay, and then put it, into a Boolean logic, video game. Yeah. So it's like the programming supports the tabletop gaming.
Well, that's interesting.
That's kind of what it comes down to. And so then we just get to see the evolution of those side quests from, those 40-hour RPGs that I was talking about, like Final Fantasy and stuff, to now the more modern, 100, 2-hour RPGs, plus hour. Or just game where side quests kind of have a life of their own, or that system has a life of its own within the greater context of like the main story and like the length of the game, or even the gameplay mechanics. Yeah.
So I mean, sorry I interrupted your train of thought too as well about why is it important. I know you're kind of touching based on what you experienced, but what do you think it's important to have those side quests?
You apologize for interrupting. I think that was actually a good tack to take. Like, some of these episodes are shot on the fly, so it was like I feel mighty proud of myself for the D&D like tabletop reference. But I do study like video game history and stuff. Like.
Well, and that's okay. With my job, I apologize for interrupting people. So fuck off and continue what you're saying. Is that better?
Sure, right. So for me, like just playing like older RPGs, like the original Final Fantasies, some even like more obscure ones, like. Chrono Trigger and things like that. All those like rich kind of worlds and those characters that they were presenting had side quests, and you didn't have to do them, but you could. Yeah. And it just fleshed out either more of the story. So like right now, for example, I'm going through Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. Again, streaming wise.
You're telling the original up there, obviously the remake though.
Yeah. The remake's not out yet, so it won't be when this releases, but we're close. Yeah. But the remaster with like trophy support on the PlayStation 4, I'm doing a platinum run for it, and this is a great example because there's like 2 extra characters you don't have to get. True. Like at all. Like Vincent Valentine and Yuffie are like 2 extra characters that you can get, but you have to do side quests, and then you can get them, and then they even have their own side quests that spawn off to flesh out their backstory. Like the
spiderweb of things.
Yeah, it's like an optional thing. Like you can get this character, and then you can find out more about the character. Like, and there are 2 separate. It's like a 2-pronged side quest for each character. And in the case of Yuffie, you actually get to go to entirely another continent in the world, and go to an entirely like fully realized and like rendered city that she's from. And hers is a little bit longer and more in depth, and it actually adds to the strength of your characters if you do it. Oh, overall. Like, so the magic system in Final Fantasy VII, for people who don't know, it's called materia, and you like slot it into your weapons, and then you can use whatever magic or materia that you've slotted in your weapons.
Yeah.
You can get unique materia in Yuffie side quests that you can't get in any other area in the game.
Okay.
So
the uniqueness of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think side quests really kind of like they can, if you do them and if they're like written properly, add to the overall gameplay. Like they can add to the story, and then they can also even add to, like I said, the strength of your characters, just the beat by beat gameplay.
That is true, and like for me, like for side quests, because like a lot of the games, for granted, I play don't have like the trophy system in play, but I like the idea of side quests, like you said, to flesh out the game, or I need to get this shield or this weapon, and I don't necessarily need to have it.
Yeah.
But for me to get it, this is where I go to get it. Because, like, I think, it's funny, I didn't realize I did this when I was replaying Zelda on the 64, is that I got his big shield before he actually needed it.
Yeah.
You know,
which oftentimes side quests will do, where you can get stuff early.
Yeah.
Before, like, you're supposed to get it proper. Like, if you just went through the scripted story, like, you wouldn't have had it.
No.
Yeah.
And I got the big shield early because that's a side quest. And, like, I didn't have to get it early because I can just essentially buy it when I go to the main city.
Yeah.
Which is part of the story. You buy something from the thing and the shop guy, and it's like another side quest. And it's, like, really cool side quests. Again, flesh out the stories where, again, I apologize, my games are, like, more 64 bits. But, with, like, what I really enjoyed, like, the Zelda game is obviously that accomplished feeling we talked about before, but as well as, like, fleshing out the story. It's like, there's this one house farther up the mountains that has a spider family that was cursed, and if you catch all the spiders, it actually increases your purse.
Yeah.
Or kill the golden spiders, and it, each person is released and, broken from the curse, but you've got to go to these little weird-ass places and listen for the sound of a spider.
And I feel like a lot of, like, RPGs and action RPGs like Zelda do that. There's, like, kind of, like, two tiers of, like, side quests. There's ones where it's, like, going to affect your end game. Like, if you collect all these things and do this over the course of, like, your entire playthrough, you're going to get extra stuff or, like, be stronger, or it's going to flesh out some little tidbit in the story.
Yeah.
Maybe an alternate ending even, or something along those lines. That's pretty common. Or there's, like, the moment-to-moment one. Like, you come to a side quest, and you can immediately, like, start it and finish it, and then go back to the main story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, the technical jargon for, like, script writers for a video game. I know a lot of times they, like, flow chart stuff so that you can kind of, like, leave and then come back, and, like, the game directs you to do so. But if you stay on a linear course, it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Like, you're not missing. You don't feel like there's a hole in the plot because you didn't do X side quest.
Yeah, X, Y,
which
Z.
is good. That's a really, like, creative way to write. Writing is already very creative, but to be able to do that, in gameplay is pretty fascinating.
What do you feel like with games that make you do side quests? Like, it's not an option. Like, you have to.
I don't think it's a side quest then.
So you think it's just like
if it's a quest that they make you do, then I feel like that's part of the scripted linearity of, like, the main narrative, not a side quest. Like,
well, like, let's say, like, with a side quest, it's like has nothing to fucking do with the story. Like, why in the hell did I do all this work and it's nothing to do with the story? I'm not gaining anything or doing anything from it.
I think that then in that case it's just kind of like poor writing or poor structure in a video game. Like, if you do it and there's just no like, you didn't gain any knowledge, information, weapons, items,
story,
magic, and, like, nothing, then I think that's probably just a poor implementation of a side quest.
Well, it's like sucks when they do that, because then you're like, the story is so great, but these little fucking oddities I'm doing is like makes no goddamn sense to the game, and just frustrates the player. And like you said, if it's optional, where it fleshes out the story, you get a cool weapon, or let's say a potion or a power or something.
Yeah.
That essentially makes you a little stronger at the end. Not necessarily needed to make you stronger.
No, you should be able to still finish the game. It may be a little bit more challenging depending on what the end game is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that should ever be a requirement. But if you do it and, like, spend the time like in like investing in those side quests and, like, have that kind of completionist attitude to do everything, then I feel like the reward should be like, well, that final boss or that final sequence should be easier. Like,
True.
But you also spent like 20 more hours
doing
it to do all the side quests and stuff. So that's, like, kind of the trade-off. It's like, well, this is easier, or I got it, like, a different ending or something along those lines. But I also invested 20, 40, nowadays 60, 80, 100 more hours into this than somebody who just blitzed through the story.
True. So how do you feel about, like, games where... Oh, I lost my train of thought. You know, where it's like side quests are long, like lengthy side quests. Do you feel like they should be short and sweet? Do you think they should have
I think it depends on the game. So like Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey kind of comes to mind. Like there's some that are very like. Actually, no, I have a better analogy. So I've also been playing Horizon Zero Dawn while streaming, and I do that 2 days a week. And I've already played through it and beat it. And I've finished everything. You know, side quests, the main quest proper.
You know, you're a trophy whore.
Yeah, all the plus it's my favorite exclusive of this past generation.
True, yeah, it's an amazing game.
You know, all the collectibles and stuff, you know, yada, yada, yada. So playing through it a second time, it's been a couple years, so it's like I don't remember everything beat for beat. Very similar to how I'm playing Final Fantasy VII. They have a great kind of quest log where it's like, oh, here's an errand.
Yep.
So it's like, it's real quick. It might be just items that you already have in your inventory. You give it to somebody else.
Okay.
You get experience for it. So, you know, you're actively working towards leveling up more quickly.
Yeah.
And other ones will be a quest where it's just like A to B. You just, you know, somebody is like, hey, can you go check out, you know, some other character I'm worried about? I'm using my cousin.
Yeah.
And so then it's close by and you just kind of truck up like this mountaintop.
You're going that way anyway.
Yeah, and you check on so-and-so and maybe he's being attacked by marauders. You defeat them. He thanks you. In some games, yeah, it'll be done there. And it's like, oh, you checked out on, you know, Cousin Tekoff or whatever in Horizon, you know, and you get your payout and move on. Sometimes you have to go back to the quest giver and give it. Sometimes that can be tedious.
Yeah, because if you have to go back to where you
all the way back,
from,
and it's like if they have kind of a wonky fast travel system, or it's like
it's not close to where you're even going.
Yeah, and you just have to like talk to somebody for like 2 seconds and you get it. And it's like, well, why didn't I just talk? Why didn't that person go and talk?
Like, oh, I'll go talk to my cousin.
Their cousin, yeah. I like it when they do that, preferably when it's like written into the like the text or the dialogue, where it's like, oh, thank you for saving me. I'll go talk to my cousin and let her know that I'm safe.
Yeah.
I prefer that rather than having to like double back and turn in a quest. That's aggravating to me. But then there's another tier where it's like instead of like the errand or the point A to point B, it'll be like 5 or 6 point A to point Bs that are kind of chained together. It's kind of a domino effect. You do the first one, and the second one opens up, and the third one, but you get a bigger piece of the story, usually a bigger like reward. I like ones that do that in that case, where they're tiered. Because you get a little bit of everything. I like diversity and variety in the game. Like, I don't want to just be doing one thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It will get tedious for me. I like, or I should say rather, I have like that completionist attitude towards big games.
Slightly.
But the ones I enjoy the most are it's like, oh, you could go get some collectibles, or you could do a main story mission, or you could do this errand, or you could just do this one quest, or you could do this series of side quests.
Okay.
Like, oh, now you can go back to the main one. Oh, you got some maps that unlock some more collectibles. You can go do that now. It's like, oh, there's this combat challenge you can go do. I like it when you have like 5 or 6, or maybe even like 7 like moving parts to a game.
Yeah, the spinning plate scenario.
Yeah, it's like all the cogs are functioning together. You can just kind of follow the main like through path or through line to just finish the main story. But it's kind of nice to hop over to that smaller cog and finish that.
Well, yeah, because it can get tedious too when you're doing the main story. And let's say, and don't get me wrong, it's like, you know, a good story and you want to finish it, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm just getting burned out on the grind. Okay.
Yeah, especially if the main quests are very like similar to one another, you know, like all fetch quests or something. Right?
Yeah,
it's like that really does get old. So I like variety. That's why I prefer like a tiered side quest system.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. Like, for granted, like we said, we play in games and stuff, and that's why I feel like with side quests are very tied together with trophies. Obviously,
they kind of are now. I mean, the Sony platform hasn't had trophies for very long, to be honest. It's easier to mark your progress now with trophies. Because I remember, like, I brought up my, like, Final Fantasy VII playthrough.
Yeah.
When I initially played that, it was, like, early internet days. Like, and I was a kid, so I wasn't going to go shell out $30 on a guide. Like, that wasn't going to happen. And the internet was around, but it was
expensive,
rudimentary, you know? And it took forever to access any kind of information because it was dial-up. And so a lot of those kind of side quests, it was like you didn't even know if you would miss them.
Yep, that's true.
Because I remember the first time I played Final Fantasy VII, like in particular how you get Yuffie, it's a random encounter. You have to be in a treat area on the overworld map, and then you randomly run into her in certain areas of the world. How am I supposed to know that, like, innately, that that's going to happen or that's going to spawn? True. Unless I know someone else who's played the game. I can't look it up. I don't have a guide. Like, it doesn't tell you in any way. Like, it isn't like the instructional booklet in the beginning of that game said as such. Like, you just don't know.
True.
And so, you know, you might just accidentally miss out, like, completely. So I do like trophies in that way, where it's like you could peruse through a trophy list and be like, oh,
I
like,
fucking missed this.
Collect Yuffie, like, as a side character or whatever it is. And it was like, oh, okay. And then now I have, we all do all this great information at our disposal, so you can, like, look it up. Like, say I've never played that game, then it's like, oh, okay, there's a trophy for it. I can, like, then research the trophy. Millions of other people have already, like, played through this.
Yeah.
Some of them have done guides and stuff, so now they tell me. So I think it's like a tool to use, but I don't think it's necessary.
True. I feel like circling back to length of, like, side quests, the funny part was when we were playing the MMO
Elder Scrolls Online?
Thank you. Elder Scrolls Online, when we did that one quest for Elka, the one lizard dude.
Oh, yeah, the...
to free the slave.
Yeah, and that one just kept going and going.
That
can be frustrating.
We were streaming that, and that was still 1.5 of our stream, so 5 hours.
Yeah, because we were streaming at 2-hour chunks, and it spilled over into a third stream.
Yeah, it did.
Which was crazy. And it was just a side quest.
And it was just basically to free him, and then it just, like, ended up being, well, she's just money-hungry...
Like, power-hungry
lizard.
Yeah, Argonian. That's what they're called.
Man, lizard. Argonian, and he just loved her and wanted to be free. And when he's a slave, and, of course, they're abusive to her on him, and, you know, she's like, well, we're not freeing him yet. Look, we have to do this so I can get up higher.
And he just kept going. And
he's like, fuck yo.
And that one's that example's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like, that was great character development.
Yeah,
for both those
side
characters. That should have
just been a story, though.
But it did go on for way too long. MMOs are, like, more trickily structured just because they add to them all the time.
True.
And the worlds are so huge, and then you're playing with, like, active players. Like, you can easily dump thousands of hours into an MMO over the course of, 10 years or 5 years.
No, and I get that, because obviously different genres have different, like, lengths of side quests.
And I'm not terribly familiar with MMOs either, like, to be honest. Like, I've dabbled in a few of them, pretty much just Final Fantasy, like, 11 and then, like, 14.
Yeah.
But recently with ASInquisitor and, like, streaming, like, we have played Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, which I both really enjoy, but the scope of that blows my mind sometimes, where I'm like...
Why haven't I finished everything yet?
Yeah, you have to only play one game. Like, you can't play any other game. You can only play ESO.
It's not done!
That's it. Like... Well, and funnily enough, the top game for the, like, amount of hours I played above Days Gone was 2. Was Fallout 76.
I know, because...
Which I was like, I didn't feel like I played it that much. Like, I played it, like, off and on when I felt like it.
You're never done with that game.
You aren't.
Ever.
And I was like, it was like 154
we'll
hours.
We'll call it the adult never-ending story. Playing Fallout 76 or an MMO.
Yeah. And Elder Scrolls, I've actually been itching to, like, go back and play, because I actually really enjoyed it. Like, that was fun.
No, it was good. It was a fun character and stuff, and it's just, like, little...
And I was just doing one of the DLCs. I didn't even do the main story.
I know, right?
I, like, picked the Morrowind one, because I really enjoyed Morrowind.
I like
that
how
world, and I was just stuck there.
The one, not side quest, but, like, daily login one we were doing, just so we can get a cool little dragon dude.
It's like in Fallout 76 when we did the Easter egg.
Yeah.
Which could be considered a side quest unto itself.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like,
I
MMO
like style.
The pocket games are like, you log in, cool, you get this little tidbit, little prize. It motivates you to play long games like
yeah, because it's like that, like, adrenaline rush almost.
Oh my god, I got this, is so cool.
It's immediate satisfaction. Like, you just have to log in, and it's like, oh, here you go. Like,
and then you're like, oh, well, I'm logged in.
My Futurama games like
like,
that. My SimCity games like that. It's like, you just log in, and you get, like, all this shit. You get all this money. Like,
and then you're like, well, I'm already here. Might as well peruse around and play a little bit. And then you're like, wait, 3 hours later, what the fuck? I was just logging in.
That's what they call gacha games. That style of game on mobile devices.
Well, mobile devices do, but also some MMOs do as well, like 76 do.
Which are like a hair's breadth away from gacha games, pretty much. Because they also have microtransactions and are gigantic.
Yeah.
You get login bonuses. Like, they're pretty much just, like,
mobile game's older brother. Like, that's all it is. Like,
They're the bigger gotcha games.
Yeah.
But the funny part's, like, I remember us logging in every day for Elder Scrolls Online just to get a ticket from eating the cake. So we can get.
I didn't even play. I just did that.
No,
in that instance.
In that instance, I remember texting, "Did you log in already? Gonna log in for this time."
Same with the Easter eggs.
And it's like we logged in and we'd get the tickets and then we'd cash them in, and then we didn't have enough to do the dragon, the big one, the big horse with the.
Yeah, so we got like the lower tier one.
We got the little dude.
Yeah.
He's like the little buddy who follows you.
Oh, I got the mounts at the end, just not the like upgraded one.
No, but then we got the little dude too.
Yeah, I got the little dude and I got the basic mounts.
Yeah, he
special.
wasn't sparkling.
Then you can't get again, which
Yeah.
is the gotcha, because then it's like, oh, I got this and you don't.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because you
And
didn't log
then
in.
do a spiral thing.
Like, yeah, pretty much.
Only reason I like to chase those guys so I fucking kill them. It's annoying as shit.
They're super annoying.
Those ones, like,
I've been dabbling in Spyro too. They those guys are in that one too.
Dudes.
Yeah, because I played the first Spyro.
I think it was making fun of you because I'm
But
like,
not
oh,
the
they don't
second
have the
one.
guys, and then like 5 seconds later,
They do later.
guy.
Yeah. I was like, oh. Yeah.
Well, I love playing Spyro because you and I are both completionists. For granted, I'm not too charismatic about trophies. I'm not playing fucking doing this so many times to get a trophy. I just like, okay, is the area complete? Boom, done. Let's move on.
Well, platformers are really good for that, especially and then. Like, platforms probably from that generation, like PS1 on, had side quests too, like, or collectibles at least, which could be considered a side quest. You get better things.
True. Or just like you don't have a missing thing and it really irritates me because I have OCD and it's like, that needs to be there. It's gone.
One of the reasons I stopped playing Spyro 2 is because I had difficulties with one of the racing ones. And like, because I didn't want to move on. I'm like, I want to get this now. That one irritates me in particular because
you have to go back.
Yeah, regularly.
Yep.
Like, I just recently got all of, like, the abilities for Spyro, so I can do everything now, but then you have to, like, pretty much start over. I go through almost every single level to, like, do everything, and it's like...
See, that's another thing that's frustrating, too. Like, we talked about this before, like, the recircling of certain levels and stuff, and I hate that. Like, I like ones where you're at this level.
I think it works better for platformers, only in the sense that they're smaller, anyways.
True. If it's like a 20-hour game, I'm not as mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it does irritate me, I agree.
How many times do you have to go back with Medieval?
I had to play through it on one save file, like 3 times or something.
Yeah, 3 times to do everything.
Yeah, because you have to play through it proper, then once you have all the levels unlocked, you have to get the gravestones, I believe, and then you have to, like, find the souls.
Find the souls, and you have to smash hands.
I know, yeah, no, you find the souls, then you free them. That's what
Yeah.
And so they're like, you find them on a particular level, then you have to free them on another level.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to lose track, because there's not, like, anything in the menu system that keeps
just
track
where you got
of it.
this, yeah.
So...
You played through it first.
Used a guide for that, I just went in order. So, like... At the end, you end up playing through it like 3 times. But luckily, you're like certain ends like all leveled up. That's like super quick.
12-hour game at most. 20-hour when you're done. Same with like the first Spyro. It's like honestly a 20-hour game, or a 10, 15-hour game. If that, and then
probably
like,
10, 12 hours. Yeah.
And then if you do everything, it's a 20, 24-hour game.
Yeah.
And it's like that just feels like freaking a breeze compared to like doing like a big MMO or even Days Gone, where it's like. You have to do all these little side quests to build up your character. With Spyro's, like, you just don't have that little diamond there because you can collect all the diamonds. Of course, that's irritating, too, but...
It is irritating, yeah. Devil May Cry is structured the same way. It's about... The lengthier ones are about 20 hours, and then they're level-based. And so... And then in each level, there's a secret mission. So that's the side quest for, like, that franchise. You don't have to do it. They're easy to miss, too. And so, if you do a secret mission, it's usually like a harder, it's like a challenge mode.
Yeah.
But you do get, you know, like a ton of red orbs for it, which you can spend to upgrade Dante or Nero or whomever.
Well, yeah, it's like I was saying, like, I have played Spyro, and I haven't played the second one in a long time, obviously, with the first one and stuff. And it's, like, kind of cool, because obviously you have the main level with Spyro.
Yeah, like a hub world.
And then you have the little individual worlds. And you can finish on everything in the little individual worlds.
And you move on to another hub world.
Yeah, but you don't have to do everything in that world. You just gotta mainly do this quest to free the dragon.
Yeah, you just have to get enough, like, dragons to free to move on.
But then it's like...
You don't have to get all of them.
But then you're like, the Nene guy, I gotta get that Nene guy. Because he's taunting you, obviously, the whole point of the Nene guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
that feeds into the gameplay loop. It, like, lures you in. And I've noticed some games do that. Like, some games definitely promote that you do a side quest. Or, like, the side activities.
Or encourage you to do it.
Yeah, and then Other ones,
Like,
you know,
you
like
can't
Final
move
Fantasy
on.
7 with Yuffie, it's like you
miss it if you don't pay attention.
Yeah, you could just miss it like blatantly.
So it's like that's like the weird combination of where it's like, you know, hey, you know, you don't have to do it. It'd be cool if you did do it. You get these cool perks. Or hey, if you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss out. That's on you. You're SOL. You can still finish the game though.
Yeah.
And then the ones you're like, nah, you ain't going nowhere until you finish the side quest. And that's an annoying one we both agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you're forced to do it, I don't really think it's a side quest though.
No, I'm not saying that, but at the same breath, like we were talking about, it's like with the side quests or the length even, or just the tediousness of it. Like you were like, okay, I kind of have to get this piece to make me a little stronger. Yeah, and it's just like.
I think that at that juncture, it's just like poorly constructed. Like if you feel forced to do it, then it's just like. Because maybe you can't defeat the final boss, but you have like everything else, and it's just like you said, it's just tedious. So you are kind of forced into doing these side quests that you don't really want to do
to get stronger,
just to get a little bit stronger, so you can finish the boss. Then it's kind of like, like I just chalk that up to this. Like that's just poor gameplay or poor writing.
Well, it's like not an example, like a bad example, because Bloodborne's a good game, but it's like with you playing it's there's no level change on it. It's just hard to be hard.
Yeah, and that one is a hard example just because it's like we talked about in an earlier podcast, Soulsborne's.
Yeah, Soulsborne.
Like that genre is just notoriously difficult. It's designed to be hard.
It is.
So I don't really consider that bad writing.
No, but people know when they get those games, they're notoriously meant to be hard for you to constantly.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into.
But like, when you're buying a game. Let's say like Days Gone, and then it's like you have to do this tediousness.
That would be aggravating, yeah. If it was just kind of down the center line for difficulty, or you could adjust the difficulty.
Yeah. And
it's like on the easiest setting or on normal, you have to because you're just
you have
like,
to like
underpowered for some reason. That would be annoying. Like that would drive me crazy.
And that's what I'm saying is like you obviously know certain games like the Soulsborne, you know what you're getting into. You're like you're just fucked from the get go, but it's fun because you want to see how fucking far you get.
Well, like one of the things that I stream regularly, I always do one on like a game or a title on like the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Like and stream through it.
Yeah.
It's usually a game I've already like finished just because then I have like a frame of reference. Like I at least know how to play.
Yeah.
Like story beats and stuff like that. But like Horizon Zero Dawn, I've been doing that on ultra hard difficulty. But I have been going and doing all the side quests and stuff still.
Yeah, but still to kind of level you. Well, I think you're max level, but level you up.
I'm actually not max level. I found that out last night. Yeah, the cap's like level 60 on Horizon Zero Dawn with the DLC. I'm like 56 or something like that, or 57.
Ooh, snap, son.
Yeah, so and there is a trophy for hitting 60. So.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's awesome. I like how they sprinkled in those little trophies there.
Well, what they did for the reward system for New Game Plus, like for to encourage you to do side quests and stuff again instead of just blitzing through the game, is you can get the same items, like the same equipment, but it has an extra slot.
Oh,
so you can add that. You can make that
weapon.
Armor or weapon a lot stronger than it was in like the original playthrough of the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so you can. It encourages you to go back through and get all the really difficult pieces of armor or weapons.
So do you feel like when it comes to obviously you've played the game, you've done all the side quests, and it opens up the next level difficulty mode, do you feel like it needs to have some kind of reward system to make you want to play on another harder level?
It depends on the game for me. This is something I don't really do regularly, so even as trophy whorish as I can be, prior to say this past year, 2019, I would play through a game. If it was a game I really enjoyed, then I would, get 100%, get a platinum on it, and then I'd be done. And oftentimes nowadays they'll update the game and they'll add harder difficulties, like New Game Plus, stuff like that, and then a few more trophies. I usually don't go back and get those trophies, so I don't have 100%, which you think would grade on my OCD. But 9 out of 10 times it really doesn't. I'm like, I already did everything. I don't need to play through this again. I found it to be a great game, but not a perfect game. Yeah. In my head. Nothing truly can be perfect, but...
That's what Batman says.
Perfect minus 1.
Oh.
Well, Batman still died, so...
That was rude.
But this past year, I did it with Days Gone. And I actually had a blast doing it. It was awesome. I did it for a stream, so that was, my goal. And I played through normally, got my platinum for it, and then they released a survival difficulty setting, that's what I ended up streaming, from start to finish. Got that trophy. And then they did later a New Game Plus and a Survival 2 difficulty.
Ooh.
And then you could get like special weapons that were throwbacks to Siphon Filter, which Sony banned. They had a different studio name, but they were the ones that created Siphon Filter.
Okay.
So you could get like special weapon for doing Survival 2 in New Game Plus, which I thought was kind of cool because that was like a little bit of an incentive to do it.
Yeah.
So since then, though, I've been more open to the idea of doing it, but I think there should be rewards. Like, to answer your question, like I think there should be some kind of incentive
to go back,
like
and
how
play.
Days Gone did it, where it was like it may be one thing, but it was like, oh, I was a huge Siphon Filter fan back in the day on the PS1, and then you could get Logan's Shadow, which I think that was actually a PSP one, but you could get like that weapon, or there was a trophy called that, and it was like a special weapon for Days Gone that was Siphon Filter inspired. I thought that was really cool, and so I wanted to do it again, and that was one I already played through, so it was like I started a third playthrough just for that, you know. I thought that was really cool.
Just a few times.
Yeah, or in Far Cry 5, was it? No, just Far Cry New Dawn. It didn't have 5 in it.
Yeah.
Far Cry New Dawn, there's like these side missions you can do. You don't have to do them. I'd already finished the game, but I went back and did all the side missions, but one of them was really cool. It kind of incentivized you to do that because you could get Sam Fisher's Splinter Cell suit.
Oh, yeah.
The stealth suit.
Yeah.
And then you could have that if you found like an Easter egg within a side quest. And I thought that was really cool because, again, I really enjoy Ubisoft, and I played a lot of Splinter Cell, and that franchise has been dormant for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's a really cool Easter egg. Like, they worked in one of their other series into this, and you don't even necessarily, like, 100%, like, find it if you do the side quest. You have to go off the beaten path within that side quest to get
It's
it.
a side quest within a side quest.
Yeah, side questception.
Secret side quest.
So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I think if they add on like New Game Plus or even harder difficulties, even if it's just like one little thing, if you already enjoy the game, that one little thing I think will propel you to play it again.
Yeah.
And I think is oftentimes necessary. I think otherwise you would just have to be 100% in love with the game, and it had to be like your one like.
Top
You know, like for me, like Bioshock. Like Bioshock didn't have an incentive to really do it on harder difficulties. I just did because I love that game so much.
You play that game, Jesus.
I don't know how many times now.
So many times,
like,
yeah.
It's
It's like
one
a
of the few
Halloween
games that I
favorite,
have, you know, like multiple platinums for the same game. And for me, that is like my favorite franchise and game of probably all time.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to, because I love it so much, to go back and play it. I didn't need that incentive, but that was kind of before they were offering like incentives for like New Game Plus or hard difficulties. So.
Well, I feel like with side quests, you know, like we've talked about, it's honestly, you get those early games like, you know, Mario that really don't have side quests. Obviously, just you finish the platform.
But even some of those
do,
because you
too.
think about like Super Mario World and stuff. There's like the hidden routes you can take, and then you get to the Star World, and then you finish that.
Yeah,
and
that's
you get,
true.
Yeah, you get like crazy shit for doing that.
I like how even in like
all the different colored Yoshis and stuff. Like,
Earlier-
those side quests add to like the lore almost.
True, even like really early games, like obviously there's a handful that don't have them, but even like arcade games have like secret side quests and missions.
Oh yeah, because that's a good point actually. It's like, say for RPGs, which definitely poached from like tabletop gaming just because of the ease in transition.
Yeah.
Arcade games, they probably developed in other genres like Easter eggs to side quests.
True.
Because like there's like hidden shit in old arcade games all the time.
Yeah, like
that was a common
if you
thing.
like jump up on this certain level, you go in this little area and there's like a health or whatever, but it's kind of like a side quest. You don't need to do it, but if you miss it,
but you can, and it makes it
can.
easier for you. Maybe not in the sense of like the end game's going to be easy, but it makes the next level easier.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the rest of that level easier. But yeah, I think there's a good kind of track with that too. It's like there's hidden stuff in old arcade games, and then you get to like rudimentary like in-home console gaming. That kind of gets fleshed out where you get even nowadays like a Splinter Cell Easter egg in a Far Cry game, but that's wrapped up in a larger side quest.
Yeah.
Like I think there is kind of an evolution there, just in different genres.
There is, and it's crazy to see because obviously you are gonna have like people playing games, older generations, younger generations, and it's just like it's cool to see when you get like that Easter egg, like, oh, I got this little side quest. Oh, cool, I got this armor that's from this game, or you know, I don't need to do it. It brings no value to me. It's just a cool piece of looking armor. Or if you do the side quest like, oh, I did this now, my power's stronger, or I collected all the jewels and stuff. It's just like that, like you said, the gacha games, that small endorphins you get and released, and it's like, oh, I did it. You know?
that good amount of like success and reward that you feel, which makes everybody feel good.
True, and I feel like too, if like you're dealing with a game that's somewhat difficult and you've fought a boss a few times, it's also like a brain refresher, like a palate cleanser to do a side quest real quick. Like, fuck, I can't get this guy.
I've totally done that where I've been really frustrated with like a boss, maybe not even the end boss, just like a boss in general or a difficult portion in the game. And so, I've gone back. I'm like, oh, I didn't collect all this stuff, or I didn't do these side quests, or whatever it may be. I'll go back and do all of it.
Yeah, just
and then and then like you said, it's a palate cleanser for your brain, and you're like, oh, I didn't look at it this way, and my guy's like slightly stronger because I, did this side quest that taught me how to do something different, or I got better gear.
Yeah.
And then you can breeze through it and move on.
Yeah. And it makes it easier, too. It's like, it's an amazing opportunity to, like you said, get cool things, make your guy a little stronger, flesh out certain stories.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily do them if you don't want to. If you're just a story grinder, that makes sense, too.
Yeast is pretty good with that franchise as a whole, where, like, very much a Metroidvania, which we discussed earlier, too. Where like you'll get a particular item and then that unlocks like the next area because you can like move a little bit differently or transverse the level a little bit differently. Usually they'll have like side quests attached to that. Then like once you get that item, then you can now go do these side quests. And Darksiders is like that as well.
Yeah,
you can go to certain areas in a particular level because you didn't have said item, but then you got the item like later on.
Well, it's like what
and then you could go back and do that side quest and stuff.
True, it's like with Yeast. Like there's this one area that was just locked off to you. You didn't need to go there. You could easily finish the story, but it's like you needed 30 people and you had like 28. And like where the fuck are these 2 people at?
Yeah, and so at the end of ETA, I was like just focused on getting like the last few people because I wanted to, like you said, I didn't need to do it. I wanted to figure out how to
open up.
And that I didn't use a guide. It was just I wanted to. That game did a good job of kind of leading you and like
guiding.
You may not know 100% how to get it, but like you could use the map or like talk to other characters to kind of figure out what you needed.
And
like contextual clues and stuff. And so I was able to get all of the side characters.
Yeah.
Which I found out later resulted in the good ending.
Yes, and that's exactly what you needed.
Yeah, because otherwise, like you just get like the standard kind of neutral ending or bad ending, and then if you do all of this other stuff, you get the good one. So it was like, so that kind of panned out. Like,
true. So what do you feel about like with games that have that? That have that if you do all of this, you get the good ending. If you do majority of it, or you get the mini ending, or if you do none of it, you get the bad ending. How come?
I feel like a little tricky with that because sometimes I think it's like rewarding, like the gamer, like, oh, I put more time in this, I did these side quests, like I'm gonna get the good ending.
Yeah.
However, I know that there's different gamers than myself who don't have like the time to do it. Like, this is a part of our business, obviously.
Yes.
So when I was working full time, I didn't have time to do that.
No,
so I completely understand. I cherry picked and played what I could play when I wanted to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, though, that it's wrapped up into, like, a business structure, it's like, oh, I have dedicated time to do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
To get, like, the good ending. So I feel like there's a huge segment, probably more so than myself and how I play, that kind of get fucked over.
True.
They don't get to see the good ending, but they, they've got a family, they work, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they can only invest, a few hours every weekend or something into it.
If they're not doing other errands.
And so over the course of a few months, they may finish a game. That's a 20-hour game. But you're asking them to invest another, 20 hours, another for them 2 months to get to it. I was like, that seems unfair. Like,
do you feel like when it comes to side quests, not necessarily enhancing your character to finish the game, but changing the ending, do you feel like that not necessarily should be taken away, but should be explicitly like kind of...
If it's like a karma-based ending where there's a bad ending, like a neutral ending or a good ending, I feel like a lot of cases you shouldn't be penalized for not doing all the side quests.
Yeah, not the side quests, but like the karma in the main story.
Yeah, like if it's worked into, like some games I've played, it's like in the very end game where it's like if you defeat this boss at a certain amount of time, then you get like the good ending.
Yeah.
If you, die a certain amount of times within the boss battle or you lose a character or something, then it's like you get the bad ending. I'm fine with that because that's very immediate.
Yeah.
That's like, you just have to do a boss battle, and that's going to determine what ending you get.
True. But like,
And then I also have like a smaller gripe, so...
Smaller? Really? Tiny tidbit?
Yeah, a little bit. I was a huge, like, or I am a huge Prince Persia fan.
Yeah,
like, that's what led to my love of, like, Assassin's Creed. The second one in the PS2 trilogy is my favorite, Prince of Persia Warrior Within. It was a lot darker in tone. The first one was more, like, critically acclaimed and stuff. But I like the second one. It was longer, it was darker,
the first one's
combat
made
was great.
movie, I think.
And that one you had to do a side quest throughout the entire game and find these hidden areas.
Yeah.
And you had to get, like, I think it was, like, all the weapons, and you had to find all the fountains, which were, like, secret. Some of them were secret.
Makes sense.
And that was, like, save point, and then also, like, healed you.
Oh, okay.
But there was, like, hidden ones, too.
Yeah.
And they were a little bit more difficult to get to, and you had to have certain weapons to, like, get there to be, like, you know, yada, yada, yada. Well, there was a secret ending if you did all of that. That ending turned out to be canon for the third one.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So you could just play through the game. You might not get all the stuff. You might get like 90% of them, but you still wouldn't trigger that secret ending. And so I did that first. And I ended up going back later and then using a guide and like getting through it to get the secret ending, because that was a franchise I really loved. And those games were fairly short, so you could kind of blitz through them.
Yeah. Like we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't spending 40, 60, 80 hours.
No, it was like 20.
Yeah, it was
20
like 10
hours
to 20
with
hours.
Done.
Yeah,
it was a 12-hour game turned into a 20-hour game.
Because it was just an action game, so.
Prince of Persia.
But yeah, Warrior Within, it was like, I loved it, so I played through it, but I feel like it like fucked over gamers who were just playing through it for the main story. And I thought it was really weird, because then they announced the third one in that trilogy. I guess it was a quadrilogy, because they did a fourth one later, but whatever. The Two Thrones. So I really enjoyed that one as well. But they took the secret ending as like the canon ending, and that was like the introduction or the beginning
playing
of
like, what
3.
the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, if you didn't get that secret ending, or you know, watch it online, which would have been difficult to do because it was PS2 generation.
Yeah,
so
still
like,
early,
stuff existed.
Early
but,
internet ages again.
Yeah, you'd have kind of no idea what was going on. So it was like you had to. That's an example where you had to do
all the side quests
if you wanted to know the story.
And that's...
You didn't need to do it to finish that game, but you needed to finish it for the next one.
And that's frustrating when they do that. Like, I feel like side quests shouldn't have that much detriment in an ending unless it's like happening in the ending itself. Like how you defeat the boss and yada yada yada. Not if you did all these side quests to power you up and you have this specialty power. And I like side quests that...
And you did get a crazy weapon. You got like the water sword or something like that, and you could actually, it was like another boss, or you could actually defeat the end boss.
Yeah.
That's something like along
well, it's like I don't mind like...
Been quite a few years since I played it, but...
Fair enough. And I just hate where it's like, you know, you have to do this, essentially all these, you know, bits to get the proper ending. I like side quests that build into lore, you get cool stuff, but aren't detrimental to the ending of the story. And that's where people get shit twisted.
Yeah, I think it should be inherently extra.
It should.
I just think it should be, like, and that's why, even though oftentimes I'll play games and get the multiple endings or, you know, a secret ending in the case of Prince of Persia, I don't think it should be a requirement. I know that I can put more time to it than other people can, and so I feel like there's, you know, a good segment of the gamer population that's going to get screwed over, who can lay down the cash for a game and play it, but may not be
have
able
the
to
time,
sink in,
essentially.
you know, 4 hours a night, 5 days a week, like I can streaming. And that's unfortunate. Like, I don't think they deserve to be screwed over. Like, we all have... This is a hobby. This is not... For most people, it's a hobby. It's something to relax and a form of escapism, like movies or music. You should be like... It'd be like if you didn't listen to the bonus track of an album, and so you couldn't listen to the single. Like, you could listen to every other track, and then it was like, if you listen to the bonus track, it unlocked, like, track 7, and it was, like, the main radio single. Like, I mean, that would be fucked up.
It would be. That's a great way to preface it.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's, like, just dicks you. And for people who maybe, like, particularly love that album and artist, are just naturally going to listen through everything. And so they're going to get the, like, full experience. There might be some people where it's just like, oh, I heard of this person, I want to listen to this. Or I like that one song that I kind of heard. And then you listen to the album, you know, via, like, Spotify or iTunes or something, or even YouTube. And it was like they cut out the main single until you listen to the bonus track, and then it, like, unlocks. And it's like, well, that's not fair. Like, that's fucked up. Like... how are you like supposed to know? And then what happens if you can't listen to the whole album like in a sitting? You know, you're just dicks. Like,
and that's true.
not fair.
And it's not cool to do that to the whole generation gameplay. Not generation, but the gamer as a whole. That's what I was looking for. And you know, like with me, like I like doing.
But then this is where you get into like microtransactions and shit. That's why those exist, like time saver packs and microtransactions, so people they don't have the time to do it, can spend the money to get out of it.
Yeah, and that's when it just gets twisted and just makes it complicated. And it's like, you know, I feel like people should keep in the mindset side quests are cool and they are important to flesh out certain things, but it shouldn't be a requirement to finish the ending of the game.
Yeah, and for me, like with the microtransaction stuff, it does not bother me if it's a single player game.
True.
Because it's like, if you need that, because you only have, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, if you need to buy the time saver packs, single game, no online component at all.
Yeah, fine, cool. Makes sense.
It's been 100 hours finished doing everything in that game.
Yeah, that's a big game.
It's a long game. I still haven't even finished it.
That's what I mean.
If you need that so you can get the story, you really love Assassin's Creed, and that'll help you like truncate that time down to like 20-40 hours.
Yeah.
More power to you. I think the only time it strays over is, and then this isn't going to lead to like side quests or anything really extra, is like online games.
Yeah, I think MMOs
like Call of Duty, like online or something. If somebody can spend an extra $100 and then they're like automatically
souped up in the highest levels, bullshit.
It's like, that's just not the way to do it. Or a lot of EA games. If it's single player and it's just contingent on one person playing that game when they want to, and it does not affect, because it can't, any other player or any other gamer. It's not creating an imbalance in a community, then it's fine. If you get stuff like games as a service, like The Division or Destiny or like online centric games like Call of Duty,
play those
like,
games.
That's where it gets shady.
And it does, and it sucks for the people who actually put time in those games. And someone's like fucking Joe Blow's like, I got an extra 100. Boom! Now I'm the big, fucking ball sack on the team, and it's like, doesn't know how to play and use his fucking equipment, let alone.
Yeah, exactly. You just had, like you said, an extra $100, and it's like, well, that's not really fair. And plus, it's not giving you any like new information. It's not. You're just like souping up your character without any work towards it. Like that's the reward in those kind of games, is putting in the time for the reward.
Yeah.
Prestiging for the first time, or maybe doing it several times because that's the big Call of Duty is your favorite.
Yeah, you got to do it level, and like you have.
And you start over to give yourself a challenge. However it may be, that's the reward. In an RPG or an action adventure game, the side quest is like the
reward for
the reward, for spending that extra time. It's like, I spent this time in a side quest or multiple side quests, so I got this,
and that's what I hate too about microtransactions as well, is because, you and I, like we said, gotcha games, same thing. Gotcha games where you log in, I got this cool egg, but then it's like, down the road, they're like, now it's available to buy in the store. I'm like, fuck you, I had to log in 6 days to get all the goddamn eggs. What the fuck?
That's what I mean. And then now it's flipped. So it's like the gamers that, didn't get the secret ending of Prince of Persia, who don't know then how the third one's going to start, who I feel like got fucked over. That group has like superseded the other group who did it, and that is now fucking them over.
Yeah.
Because the group that I'm probably a part of, who's going to spend the time doing it, you've just undercut all of our rewards, all of our hard work that we put into
making sure we log in, or making sure we do the side
spend
quests,
the time, was aware of events going on, or side quests and stuff.
Now it's
like you get dicked, and then Joe Blow, who can only put in a couple hours,
but it's got the cash
2 months,
for it,
has the cash, and so it just circumnavigates the entire process, and so. That's a complicated issue and very tricky, because then it's like, well, then who's right and wrong? Like, or how do you get that closer to like equality or a balance? And it's like, I don't know what the answer is. Not necessarily even
equality, but just a balance in there, and that's going to be the difficult thing. Because, like you said, is weighing one way and then weigh the other.
Because I think the only inequality in a online game should be between the skill of the player.
Exactly.
It should not be because of like your gear
or your level.
That's going to happen in naturally playing, but you shouldn't be able to like pay to win.
Yeah, I feel like if you're paying to win, why the fuck play the game at all?
Yeah, it's just like,
It's
oh, yeah, I'm big dick on the block, but I just shelled out an extra $100. And it's like, well, not really.
Well, I'm the big dick on the block. I actually played and learned this, so fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, and you give it a few months, and then everyone who didn't shell out the extra $100 has all the same equipment and gear and stuff that you have, and they're a better player.
Because they actually
dicked.
learned to
So
play.
you just wasted the $100.
Yeah.
You were only good for 2 months, or
Yeah.
a month, you know, or
from
a
the
few
beginning,
weeks.
and then like you stopped playing or whatever, and you came back and like everyone's this fucking level, everyone's better than you because they played the game.
Yeah, whether they spent the money or not, and then they also put in like the practice, and so therefore have the experience in that title. And it's like that's where like side quests or like Easter eggs or like microtransactions and stuff like that really start to like they get weird in like games as a service and online games. But I think in single player games and like RPGs and action adventure games or action RPGs or whatever kind of single player genre like strikes your fancy. Side quests are usually like useful and like fun to do if you have the time to do them. And long story short, you shouldn't be like reprimanded for not doing them though.
Yeah.
And it should be balanced in that way.
And that's the thing is you got to come to that balance. So I feel like everything said and done. Side quests are important. Whether you do them, you don't. It's just a fun thing to do in the end.
Yeah, it's always the best way I've kind of put it, just for gamers in general, is it's always good to have options.
Yes.
And so a side quest is an option, and whether you do it or not, they matter because they provide a gamer an option.
Exactly.
And then if you do them, they provide variety.
Exactly. And then it builds on the story, and like we've discussed the entire podcast, and that's why side quests are important. For granted, we'll find that balance. It'll get there. Just right now, it's not.
Yeah, and we are in a different kind of like echelon of gaming, and so games as a service didn't exist.
Nope.
10 years ago.
No, but now we got to find that balance now because now there are games as a service. So it's like, well, we're tipping the scale, but we'll get back there. Yeah,
that's kind of like online gaming in its inception was a little rough.
Yeah, especially with like Inception, the very beginning. Yeah, it is fucking rough.
And now it's pretty well like fine tuned.
No, like I was saying, it's just that balancing act, and we'll get there. It's just we tip the scales heavy one way, now we're tipping the scales heavy the other way, and whoop, we'll get that middle.
Yep, it just takes time.
Yeah, and like you said, the video
genres they take time to evolve.
Yeah,
we may be discussing a very like intimate or small part to a lot of different genres, side quests in this episode, but genres as a whole or like types of games as a whole do take time to evolve.
Exactly.
And yeah, the gaming industry is still super young. It's finally getting into its maturity.
Yeah.
Because it's been 40 years.
Exactly.
But that's only happened in the last decades. I mean, it was in its infancy before.
Yeah, it was. And so that's why, we'll get there. And, I feel like with everything being said, I think my final note is side quests are important.
Side quests are important. I agree. I've always really enjoyed them in most games that I've played. There's obviously going to be like blunders here and there, but on the whole, I've really enjoyed what side quests have offered, especially to the genres that I play. So.
Yeah. All right. Any housekeeping, kind sir?
By the time this podcast released, FCG will be out within the week, so that'll be the third episode with John and I.
Yeah.
If you haven't given that a listen, that's our ASInquisitor's long format podcast. It runs 2 to 3 hours. It's usually like a deep dive into a specific topic with John and I.
Nice.
So yeah, February's release is going to be Assassin's Creed, like I said.
Woohoo! Assassino.
Yeah, because we had very polarizing opinions about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which we used a couple times as an example in this podcast.
Yeah,
so thought I would bring that one up. And then, as always, you can find Rage Quit and 64 Bits of Rage now on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, CastBox, pretty much and YouTube. So pretty much where podcasts are available, you can find us.
Yes, we're spreading out our tentacles even further.
Exactly. That's our Rage Quit. Obviously, if you listened, is our weekly PlayStation podcast, and then 64 Bits of Rage. If you haven't checked that one out, as well as our weekly Nintendo podcast.
Yeah.
So that's about it. As far as anything like new on the horizon, at the moment, we don't really have anything.
Not particular.
Like momentous planned or
momentous occasion.
some big announcement. Still just kind of working out the kinks and working on 64 Bits of Rage since that's our newest podcast.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big thing. And
Yep.
making sure we adhere to a schedule and
Yeah.
get everything out on
Follow
time.
the schedule.
Exactly. That's definitely probably the big goal for our podcast is to make sure that they're released in a timely manner and that they, actually come out weekly at the same time, all year.
Exactly.
So that's the goal.
All right.
Have you? Anything?
Nope. 64 bits. Follow it. 64 bits of rage. No.
Oh, I guess we will have like T-shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have T-shirts.
I guess that is a big announcement. I forgot about that. Yeah, we're gonna be launching for in particular for our podcast.
Yes.
You could get like a Rage Quit T-shirt or a 64 Bits of Rage or a FGG T-shirt.
And I'm excited. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have just basic T-shirts for men and women, all different sizes of those 3 podcasts. So Ariel and I, at the time of recording, just need to finalize our like favorite designs, and then work out like who to go through.
Yeah, true. There's so many places now that are just reasonable. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so for us, it's just gonna be like, what kind of T-shirt design do we like as far as like the logo and graphics concerned, and then also like the cut of the shirt. But we're gonna start there, and then hopefully we'll be able to branch out into other stuff. So we'll have like
mugs,
pants, joggers, hoodies, stuff like that.
Yeah,
we're gonna start out with podcast T-shirts.
Of course.
So if you really like this podcast, you can get a Rage Quit T-shirt.
Yeah.
If you just kind of dabble in this one, but you really like the 64 Bits of Rage one, you can get that as well.
Yep.
And then if you enjoy fucking great games, FGG, you can get a shirt on that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that's about it, kind sir.
I think that's it.
All right, again, my name's Ariel Schultz.
My name's Anthony Schultz.
As always, follow the bears.
Have a good night.
Follow the bear, not bears.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey there, guys. This is Anthony Schultz, one half of the duo for Rage Quit. I just wanted to spend a minute or two, at most, talking about Ariel and I's other endeavors or where you can follow her and I if you're a fan of this podcast. So, I'm most prolific on Twitter as far as social media is concerned. I share more kind of gut reaction or like private experiences and opinions there. I'm at Anthony R. Schultz. Pretty easy to remember, just my name. And if you'd be so inclined, you can give me a follow, and I also drop Rage Quit links there every week. And other things that Ariel and I are both working on. ASInquisitor also streams, which is the production company that produces Rage Quit, essentially myself at the moment. And I stream 5 days a week. I'm a variety streamer, so I do a little bit of everything. Hopefully, there's something there that you would really enjoy, even if it's just 1 day a week. I take every Thursday and Friday off, and you can follow and or subscribe at twitch.tv/ASInquisitor. All these links that I'm mentioning will be in the description box below, and I will reiterate. Also, ASInquisitor has a YouTube channel. So if you're not listening to this podcast via YouTube, if you're using your preferred podcast provider, this podcast does make its way to YouTube. We will eventually be recording not only our voices, but also ourselves when we do the podcast. We're just working on some equipment issues right now. But we also have past streams that I've done for ASInquisitor that have a little bit more kind of polish or pizzazz to them. They're divided up into like better bite-sized chunks for complete game playthroughs or Let's Plays. There's also a lot of unique content there. I record things throughout the week as I play games, just kind of funny moments or maybe even like personal achievements, things of that nature. And so you can search for ASInquisitor on YouTube. And again, the link will be in the description below. But those are my 3 kind of primary platforms that you can find me on. So that's Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Ariel actually has her own YouTube channel called Painting with LM Schultz. She's a very talented painter. She has her fine arts degree and enjoys painting for cathartic reasons, as well as to improve on her like technical prowess. So she started her own YouTube channel to improve on her techniques, as well as show people kind of some basics or things that you can do painting wise. There's also some other kind of crafty, do-it-yourself kind of ideas and videos on there as well that pertain a little bit more personally to her and I, because they usually involve our family. It's a family project that she's working on. For example, she did our son's Halloween costume, and so she walked through how she constructed and created, the costume, and how you could do something similar for your kiddos at home. And then finally, you can follow Ariel on Twitter as well. She is primarily on Twitter, just like myself. We don't really indulge in too many other social media platforms, save for maybe Instagram. I don't think we're as active on there. Ariel might be, more so than myself. But you can follow her at Merhobbit and give her a follow as well. That's my lovely co-host and beautiful wife, Ariel. But anyways, I just wanted to stop in and kind of throw some links your way. And if you were curious about what ASInquisitor was doing and how Rage Quit kind of fit into that ecosystem, there it is. Yeah, got all the links for you. If you're interested in any one of those, all of those links are going to be in the description box below, and they're going to be in every podcast episode now. So I'm not sure if they're entirely there right now, but I'm going to be doing a fresh write-up and make sure and have all of those included for you. So just click a link or copy and paste and head on over if any of those strike your fancy. But anyways, thanks for enjoying the show. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week for more rage quittiness. And as always, follow the bear. And have a good evening, guys.